Hello and welcome. Today's Healing Newscast features a Christian Science volunteer chaplain and shows how the light of the Christ is reaching inmates in California prisons and jails.
One psychologist was in an office next to the chapel, one of the chapels that I worked in, and she asked me on the way out if it would be possible for me to go by and see one of the inmates that she was seeing as an appointment the next day. I got to her unit, and over the loudspeaker comes this broadcast, my whole name, and then, would you please report to control? Up to that time, I had been struggling with a shooting pain in my leg. I was doing quite a lot of walking, but I knew that I had this wonderful purpose. But I was going to have to walk all the way from this very distant, I had already walked out to this very distant unit, was walking all the way back to control to find out what they wanted. And so I really had to question whether I was even going to be going back to see that person again and whether they would let me. So I got to control. I had still possession of the keys for the chapel in the other area, and they were just looking for them. By the time I got back, they were lined up to dinner, getting ready to go, and here is this woman in line, this inmate in line, and I arrived and I said, am I too late? And the guard called her out. We went and we sat, and it was as if I was like a sign and a wonder to her. I was evidence of God's care for her, because the last thing in the world she wanted to do was to go to the meal where she was most struggling with the intimidation of other inmates. But I was like the means by which she had her private time with God. She wasn't going to have to go to meal. She was going to be able to go to her room and her cell, and just study, which is what she had hoped to do. And I had totally lost the pain in my leg, and it was just the most freeing, wonderful experience for both of us. And it led me to the thought that, the way of holiness is the way of health. And the way of health really is the way of holiness.